I'm having broccoli soup. I'll talk about that in a minute. James is having that and some broccoli juice. And I'll be talking about what doesn't kill you. I'll be giving that a book review. I don't know, it looks like James has something to review there too.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of stuff that I've kind of done partial reviews of or whatever for the last little while. We've been talking about other things. I prefer it to Jason Kenney and you other flunkies of his to not have stuff to talk about. Get on the stick.
Alright, so I juiced, that's one bag that was 907 grams of broccoli.
It's going to be potent, I'm afraid.
So that's one, that's 907 grams of broccoli right there, juiced. And I have 2 bags of broccoli juiced. And what I've done is I watered it down and I added salt and bay leaves and some pepper. That's it. And
have you tasted it to see what it's like?
Yeah,
now understand,
right.
I'm going to be grimacing when I'm drinking this. It's not a reflection on it. The whole thing is to get something healthy. But you've managed to make it tasty as well. I like broccolis, but when you intensify the stuff like this, it is hard to take.
And so when you boil it, when you boil that broccoli juice, you're going to get a bunch of solids that were in the juicer come up. And I skim those like this is the broth from that. Basically, I take a sieve and I run it through a sieve, and then I collect those solids. This is still from the juicer. So this is the pulp from our 3 bags of broccoli that we're consuming today. And
that you will use for a variety of different things, right?
Yeah, the pulp is really easy to use. So if you have children that they're like, I won't eat broccoli, I won't eat whatever, try learning how to cook with pulp, because then you can eat this healthy broth soup or drink the juice if you prefer to go that route, and you can introduce vegetables to your children without the flavor being too strong for them to handle. So, because you can make a lot of wonderful things with pulp. It tastes a lot better than with the juice in it. And no, it's not as healthy, but it's probably healthier than a lot of things that you're
it's
already
healthier
feeding
than
your children.
nothing, and it's way healthier than stuff that's in the negative territory when it comes to goodies. It's got baddies. It's got nutrient baddies, not nutritious baddies. So this is
your fried potato, and I put the lettuce in.
I'm going to put the lettuce on the brioche.
Yeah.
Spread it around.
I'm exhausted. It is 12:53, 12:54.
Yeah, so it's been more than
September 16th,
morning.
so happy birthday to a loved one out there.
Yeah.
And I've already done 20,972 steps.
Did you get some reading done as well, or were you just pacing?
See, it's a Salvation Army free food day. And so there's a couple, there's 4 ladies that they're 2 teams really, and they show up in 2 cars, and they've been competing for who can be there first, I think, and that's the thing.
To get in the lineup.
Yeah. So there's really no competing with them. They're going to be there first. So I get there at 7:30. They're already there.
In the morning, and it generally doesn't open up until what, 10?
It doesn't open till 10. So anyway, which is fine, because what I decided to do is I didn't want to sit there and read because I'd get cold sitting. It's very cold in the mornings.
And this is still almost like a belated summer.
So I decided I'd start walking and get my steps in. So I do laps around the building, and it's not a very attractive walk, but it gets the exercise in. I'd be there anyway. And so Thursday morning I get free food, free exercise, and free audiobook, because I'm now, rather than reading while I sit, I'm listening to an audiobook while I walk. So the playaways, the little playaways. So it's great. It's not really a waste of time for me to be there anymore. Well, it wasn't anyway. Because the food, it's well worth the wait. Like today, I said you can take as much as you want of the broccoli, and I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yep. And I knew they had a lot of something, because they had to send their truck back for a second pickup. Yeah. They had it filled up the once, and they had to send it back the second time. Incredible. So, anyway, I suppose I should talk about the audiobook, or the book. I wrote in here for my review, at first I thought the title was stupid, just a cliche and seemingly irrelevant. I was put off by all the dialogue, which basically tells the entire story. I thought it odd when the author would write something like, he made a rude noise. What kind of noise, I wondered. Was he trying to burp out a national anthem? It's an easy read, so I stuck with it. I'm glad I did. It wraps up nicely at the end. Pieces of the story that seemed like filler ended up critical. This was a fiction book worth reading. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it until basically the last, I don't know, 20 pages or something.
The surprise ending, is that what you're talking about?
It builds on itself.
Okay.
She did a good job.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Was it Scarlett Johansson wrote it?
Iris. Scarlett.
I saw Johansson in big letters. Okay.
She decided
Sometimes
to take up writing.
Yeah. And I think she's smart enough actually to figure things out. Oftentimes they'll just use someone's name. You know. They'll ghostwrite, not someone's autobiography, but just whatever. You know, Bruce Willis on cliffhangers, you know. Although Bruce might be smart enough to write something.
Yeah. But why would he? He'd make so much more money doing it.
Never can tell. I mean, why would Chuck Berry write an autobiography? He did. He did a reasonably good job. He wasn't as good slinging the lyrics for autobiography as he was slinging the lyrics for snappy rock and roll tunes in the late 50s and early 60s.
So how's your brioche?
It's disappearing pretty quickly. That means something good.
Yeah. I kind of judge whether food is edible by whether the dogs will go for it. They love brioche. They love it. They'll fight over it.
I hope they haven't fought to the death inside.
Yeah. Well, I didn't give them any more.
Oh, thank heavens.
Yeah. But I was going to give it all to them, and then I asked James, well, do you want to try it to see why they love it so much? And apparently it is good.
The bread itself looks pretty pallid, but it's the stuff that's added. You were saying butter and eggs, possibly?
That's what it says on the package. It says it's made with real butter and eggs.
I don't believe it. We're not going to mention the brand.
But the dogs are always excited when I come back after.
Oh, they were excited
so
today, let me tell you.
Snooping through.
They
they're
could
like,
hear you coming up
get?
the alley, I swear. Because they'd just been out. I was getting ready to come and pick whatever you had in the car. But I was reading my watch roll. I haven't adjusted this one for daylight saving time. So I thought it was coming up to 10, but it was actually coming up to 11.
Yes.
So I'd already let them out, and all of a sudden they wanted to go out again, starting with Opie. And I don't know if they heard you struggling up the alley with what you were bringing along. Anyway, next thing you know, you were opening up the gate, as it were, to the deck. Excuse me. So, do you want to review anything else, like secret?
I don't know.
Anything
Did you
we've
want
heard
to
on
talk
the
about O'Toole or anything?
Yeah, I want to talk about a lot of stuff. I've got stuff to review, but there's stuff, political stuff, that needs reviewing now.
Yeah, because so many people are going to die this winter because of
Aaron
the
O'Toole.
policy decisions of a few people that were just really keen on keeping their own jobs. So selfishly, they decided to let a whole bunch of people die. So many people are going to die this winter.
Well, we'll see. They took them so long to smarten up. Smarten up is not to kind of get less dumb.
They haven't smartened up. They're still selfish. They still think they can get away with it.
Yeah.
They just want the public to feel like they're really sorry. They made a mistake. But they didn't. They acted out of their own selfish interest. And they will again.
We're talking about the Alberta government and their flunkies. Starting with Gina Hinshaw.
If you're a Toole, vote O'Toole. Otherwise, vote anyone else almost. Really.
Except
if
for
you
Maxime Bernier. He's
okay.
Kind of our version of Donald Trump. I mean, he is awful. Of course, he was a card-carrying member of the Conservative Party up until a year or so ago. Decided to split off.
And I mean, I don't care for Trudeau. A lot of the things he's done have been more than disappointing. But
I think he's the worst Liberal prime minister in this century. Well, in this since Wilfrid Laurier, and so that goes back, as I recall, to 1896, and that might even be the exact date.
Yeah, in this century, I thought, isn't he the only one? Like, who else?
Yeah, exactly right. But, over the last century. Yeah. The Chrétien made it into this century.
Oh.
This Trudeau is way worse than Chrétien. There's no way you could accuse Chrétien of being a spoiled rich kid. He came from pretty...
And I voted for Trudeau. I'll tell you that right now, I did.
Yeah, I might have as well, because I think maybe the Liberal... I just voted strategically, and that's what I'm going to do.
That's what I did.
And anything to keep the Conservatives out.
This election, I voted NDP. I hate the NDP. If you've listened to me in the past, you know that. I voted NDP. Why is that? Well, I wanted to vote Green, because I would vote Green, I think, 100% of the time, if I didn't think I should vote strategically. And I know that there's no chance that the Liberals are going to get elected in where I vote. So I thought, well, I did hear some people talking. So I was walking along and I heard two old ladies talking. And one old lady said, I'm voting NDP because I hate that Jason Kenney so much.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, okay. And I know
now
that
you
the
got
NDP
the impression
has been elected here.
It was her default setting to vote Conservative.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so she hopped right over the Liberals to go to the NDP. And I know that the NDP has been elected here.
And they were...
And so I decided, well, that's strategically, that's my best bet, voting NDP. And I got to the polling station and there was no green option. So
I would have voted green too. I really feel for their leader right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot of skunks who support the Greens, unfortunately, who are. I'm sure they love slinging around Islamophobia at someone who criticizes Islam or parts of Islam. And yet there they are, criticizing Israel, criticizing Jews, criticizing Zionists. That's part of, I guess you could call it Judaism, even though it's very secular. If you had called them anti-Semite, no, they're not anti-Semitic. They're hypocrites. And so I'm perfectly willing to, because they're flinging around Islamophobia charge. As they're doing that, I'm calling them anti-Semites.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people out there that they're fairly covert about it, but they really, really hate Jewish people. Really hate them.
That's on the right
they
and the
hate
left
them
wing.
so much that they have the attitude, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's the only reason why they want to rub shoulders with Islamic people.
Yeah, they're traditionally left-wingers. This goes back into the 19th century. We were against Jews because they associated Judaism with capitalism, or Jews at least with capitalism. And then they kind of moved away from that a little bit.
Well, it's not only that. They associate Jewish people with learning, with people who like knowledge. And there's a lot of people out there who they do not respect people who like knowledge. They hate them. They would like to kill them if they got the option.
Oh, yeah.
They hate them that much.
And it's not just people in the right wing. I mean, you look at the way the commies, what they did to the real intelligentsia in Russia when they were taking over and after they took over, it was absolutely awful. So you had an idiot like Khrushchev deciding the lives of people who actually had an education. Khrushchev had, I think, a grade 2.5, the equivalent of a grade 2.5 education. And that's according to Taubman. It's not something that I got over the internet. Taubman, I think, is supposed to have written, at least in the English language, the definitive biography of Khrushchev. Or Taubman is probably the way he mispronounces his name. It'd be more like Taubman in the original German.
But yeah, with O'Toole, if you think that he's center,
he's been
you're
centering
an idiot.
himself. Apparently, when he was running for the leadership of the Conservative Party, he was running to the right of at least Peter MacKay. And now he's making conciliatory noises towards the middle. Understand. Look at what's happened in Alberta with Jason Kenney. Jason Kenney, I think, was a federal politician, and he decided to go for provincial politics. His track record might not be nearly as right-wing as it's been since he's become the leader, misleader of Alberta. The main reason why he's been so, shall I call it, bum-headed about COVID is because he wants to keep his party, his Wild Rose Party, with emphasis on wild, the real wild party they've got there, or here in Alberta. He wants to keep it together. And he knows, and he's got all these fractious people on this right wing, and they're already right-wing Conservative Party. He wants to keep them in the party. He knows it's United Conservative Party. It was a Wild Rose Party and the Conservative Party joining up together. He's got to keep them in line.
Like, you think that if he doesn't get a majority, then he will form a coalition with...
Who?
You've already told me.
Oh, like O'Toole?
I thought it would be the Bloc, but James doesn't think it's the Bloc that he'd form a coalition with.
Who, Aaron O'Toole?
Yes.
I thought he'd form a coalition with the Bloc.
Oh.
It wouldn't be the NDP, right?
No, I thought you were saying he'd form with Populist.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
Oh.
I don't know if the Populists would support so much of whatever he was shoving down our throats, right?
Yeah.
So you've asked that, right? Like
yes.
Whatever seats, whatever members of Parliament, the People's Party elected, they'd support almost everything that idiot.
But he's going to have to do the same sort of things that Jason Kenney has had to do to try to keep his job. Well, at
the same time, they'll basically be supporting each other. He'll want to keep people that swing that way towards the Maxime Bernier part of this spectrum, the populist part of the spectrum, online in his party. He'll be making, if he gets elected, doesn't matter if it's a minority or majority government, he'll be trying to keep those guys in line, and on his side. And so he'll be doing the same sorts of things that Jason Kenney has been doing. I don't know what Trudeau was thinking. When he called an election, he should have had, this is how he should have been campaigning. There's Jason Kenney, look at him. That's the way Aaron O'Toole is going to be.
Yes. Rest of Canada, do you want what is happening in Alberta to happen to you?
With COVID, whatever. Because that's
what... Honestly, look at who Jason Kenney's giving money to. He's saying things like, oh, yeah, people are getting $1,000 to...
I think it was 100.
Was it 100, I think?
To get vaccinated.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But... we haven't gotten any money to get... We got vaccinated.
We got it early.
We got nothing.
We got it on schedule.
So you have to actually be somebody who is a part of his little community of people who are anti-vaxxers and whatever in order to
Crazies
get
like that.
100 or
come on, anti-vaxxers, get your $100.
And to be a part of that.
You've proved you're irresponsible. You've killed off so many people already. Who knows how many?
You want to get your ticket $100 for the vaccine lottery?
Yeah, that's right.
Out? Oh, well, how do I
We didn't get a ticket because we got our lottery on time.
Yeah, we went and...
We know your conservative supporters.
And another thing, vaccine passport? No. There should be no such thing as a vaccine passport. It shouldn't be. It should be a vaccine visa.
Yeah,
vaccine visa. Sounds better. See, alliteration. Vaccine visa. And it should only be for people that have to be out in the work setting. They should get the visa. And everyone else, lockdown.
Or else it would be something like a necessary but not a sufficient condition.
Yeah.
In other words, to go someplace, let's say to shop, you have to have it. But you still have to do masking. You still have to do social distancing. You still have to do...
and since they can't prove, you can't have somebody sitting at the grocery store door saying, can I see your passport before you enter? Because that's a little much to expect from grocery store employees. Then everyone just has to wear a mask. When you're out, you have to wear it. And you have to social distance. Because nobody can know whether you've had your vaccinations or not.
And even so, I think they're saying here in Alberta, I think this is according to the government, I'm taking this as minimum figures. If I heard it correctly, it was maybe a little more than 10%. We're going to say 10%. I think it was 11, but we're going to say 10% of the people in ICUs.
Passport shows that it tells people, oh, you can travel around, you can do whatever, you can have freedom. No, you don't get freedom this isn't under control.
You can French kiss everyone you meet. Like no.
So vaccine visa, it's for work only. If you want a job, well, you're going to have to get vaccinated. You can't be out caring for elderly people without vaccination. That's ridiculous. So, yeah.
How long is this going to last? Like Jason Kenney was saying, we can't have this forever. No, we can't. Do something about it, you stupid idiot. Kill it. Kill the COVID. We can't have it forever, you stupid. Yeah. No, really, we can't. And he said, we can't have it forever. What he's saying is what we're going to do is just get rid of we can't wait. Yeah, he was saying.
It's like he's trying to convince the COVID, you better stop COVID.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was comparing Alberta favorably with other countries in the world.
Welcoming it in. He's like, and his policies are, please COVID, come and kill us all.
Well, not
and
all.
His,
older people. Yeah. But he was saying, it's like a moving target. It keeps changing. No spit, you moron. You oxymoron. You think you're so sharp. You're smooth. Just like Dina Hinshaw. But you're like smooth, like what goes through the proverbial goose. Got that? So, Hinshaw's incredible. Like she was saying she regretted, but what she was saying, she clarified it. It's like if I treat someone, and someone who's old and got all sorts of stuff, I know that I'm going to cause problems with the way I treat. You see? She's treating the body politic.
She's evil.
Yeah.
She's evil.
Oh, absolute evil slime, Dina Hinshaw.
I mean,
look at yourself in the mirror. Have a little smell.
She
you're
needs
awful.
to be like, we were listening to the radio the other day, and she said something, and James said, yeah, they should play that at her hearing.
Many hearings.
Yeah.
All you
terrible.
people who've lost a loved one, a near and dear one, near and or dear one, start saving up your shekels. Do some class action thing or whatever. If you're rich enough, take her on individually.
Yeah.
Civil suits. For wrongful death, ask for $1 million, millions of bucks, each individual case, and then there should be the criminal suit for gross. What do you call it when you? It's like manslaughter. It's like criminal negligence death by criminal negligence.
Malpractice.
Get her into jail, so she should lose all the money that she's ever got from, come on, I'm Jason Kenney. You come and be our mouthpiece because you're smooth as what goes through the proverbial
not
goose.
Not only their freedoms, but their lives.
Horrible
person.
She
should lose her freedom.
Lose her freedom.
Yeah.
Lock her up. Throw away the key.
I mean, there's everyone in the party. When a bunch of people do a robbery or something and one person pulls a gun and shoots somebody, everyone involved in the robbery, as far as I know, gets charged.
That's the way it is in I gather in the United States, I gather it's here.
It doesn't matter that she's only one person in a handful of people that's making policy decisions.